At a party, my girlfriend lost truth or dare and had to call her biggest regret. She asked him on speaker, "If I get a divorce, will you give me a home?" When he said yes, the room went dead silent. Everyone expected me to explode and flip the table. Instead, I just calmly slid the ring off my finger. We had not registered our marriage yet, so it was not too late. "Let us break up. I am making room for him." Before she could speak, I turned and walked out. On my way, I called my parents back in Jingbei. "Mom, Dad, I agree to come home and marry. That is wonderful, Xiaochuan. You finally came around. You are the sole heir to the Lin Group after all. If you had not insisted on working outside for experience, you would have taken over the business long ago. Your father and I already picked out a match, just waiting for you to say the word." Hearing their relieved voices, I felt a pang of guilt, and my tone softened. "I will follow your arrangements." Great. How about we set the wedding for January 19th? When are you coming back? Do you want to meet your partner beforehand? I can arrange a date soon. My mom kept rambling on. Her eager voice gave me a bit of a headache. Honestly, I did not care who I married. I had no interest at all. So I interrupted her. "I want to return to the Lin family early to share your burden. The marriage is just a side matter. No need to meet. You guys handle the wedding. I will come back the day before." Just as I finished speaking, the bedroom door was pushed open. Hearing the noise, I instinctively turned my head and saw Liu Ruyan walking in with a frown. "Wedding? What wedding?" Facing her confused look, I calmly hung up and made up a quick excuse. "A friend is getting married, and they want me to be the best man." Hearing this, the tension on Liu Ruyan's face finally softened, and she did not ask further. I put my phone on the table and went into the bathroom. A moment later, as the water began to run, the phone on the table started ringing. Hearing the continuous chiming, I hesitated for a moment, then tapped the screen. A message from Chen Zhao popped up. "Do you still remember what we said back then? You are not actually thinking of marrying Lin Chuan, are you?" My chest tightened. I paused for a second, then gently swiped up. That was when I saw Liu Ruyan message from 10 minutes ago. "Chenzu, in 33 days, it will be your 28th birthday. Do you still remember what you promised me back then?" I put the phone back, leaned against the sofa, and a rush of memories flooded my mind. When I was 18, my aunt returned to the country to marry, and I came with her to attend Yun University. To enjoy college life and for safety, I never mentioned my background to anyone. At the welcoming party during my senior year to help my roommate, I went on stage to accompany a performance. As I walked down with my instrument, I looked down and saw Liu Ruyan. She wore a white dress holding flowers by the door, her eyes sparkling. "Can we exchange contact info? I am a visual person." I agreed on the spot. After that, we talked daily and ran into each other everywhere. In our 3rd month, Liu Ruyan confessed her feelings. It was young love at first sight, and I had no reason to refuse. That was how we ended up together. From age 21 to 28. For 7 years, my family kept urging me to return for an arranged marriage. After refusing multiple times, I tried to test her thoughts. But whenever marriage came up, Liu Ruyan would avoid it like the plague, never mentioning it. At first, I thought she just was not ready for marriage, but as it happened more often, I noticed something was off. Until half a month ago at a party during some drunken chat, I heard the truth. Her heart had always belonged to her childhood friend Chen Zi. Unfortunately, it was completely one-sided. Chen Zi only saw her as a friend. The only reason she approached me was because on the night we met, Chen Zi was with someone else, and my playing on stage bore a slight resemblance to her beloved. To soothe her disappointment and spite Chen Zi, she chose me. In the following years, Chen Zi went through dozens of short-lived relationships. Every time she heard about his breakups, Liu Ruyan thought of running back to him. But before she could speak, Chen Zi had already found a new target. Her grief only intensified. Just like that, 7 years passed. We had not broken up, and Liu Ruyan never gave up either. She was always waiting for Chen Zi to change his mind, waiting for a joke. He made in his youth after drinking Ruyan when I am 28 if we are both still single. How about we just settle and give it a try? So she asked him every single year. And this year, she finally reached Chen Zi's 28th birthday. Scrolling through Liu Ruyan's phone chats, I laughed. 33 days from now is Chen Zi's 28th birthday, which is also the day I chose to break up, go home and get married. Seeing Liu Ruyan go into the study, I also got up, turned off the lights, and lay back in bed. I do not know how long passed, but in the pitch-black room there came a very faint sound of footsteps. A dimly glowing phone was placed on the nightstand, and someone lay down behind me. Then came a long silence until I heard the light, rhythmic breathing beside me. I slowly opened my eyes, reached out, and took Liu Ruyan's phone. Opening the chat again, there were only 4 extra words still in my heart. A very simple phrase, but I could easily imagine her state of mind when typing them. She was probably biting her lip eyes, glued to the screen, carefully typing out a long paragraph only to delete it, cautiously weighing her words. She was both afraid her feelings would be too easily noticed, yet also afraid they would go completely unnoticed. This careful and guarded attitude only appeared when she was dealing with Chenze. Thinking of this, a bitter smile crept onto my face. She was completely focused on that 28th birthday promise, waiting for Chenze to marry her. I spent the whole night with my eyes shut, unable to sleep. After dawn, rustling sounds came from beside me. I opened my eyes. "Get off work early today," I said. Liu Ruyan, applying skincare, looked over with a puzzled face. "Is something wrong?" After a long silence, I slowly spoke. "Today is your birthday, did you forget?" Liu Ruyan's body stiffened slightly before she nodded. For the past half-month, her mind had been entirely occupied by her 28th birthday agreement, with Chenze leaving no room for anything else. Now she had even thrown her own birthday to the back of her mind. Thinking back on these 2 months, painstakingly preparing surprises only to waste my efforts, a wave of mixed emotions washed over me. Liu Ruyan did not notice the change in my expression. She only advised me to keep it simple, saying no need to be grand. In previous years, I always went all out to host a birthday party just to make her happy, but she never cared about my efforts. So hearing her say this, my voice carried a hint of self-mockery. The party is already planned and everyone has agreed to come. It cannot be canceled. This birthday party had actually been prepared 3 months ago. Back then I did not know there was someone else in her heart. If I had known, I would not have done it. Hearing my explanation, Liu Ruyan said nothing more, picked up her phone and left. Before she turned, I caught a glimpse of her frowning. After arriving at work, I went straight to the manager's office to submit my resignation. When I walked back out holding my resignation letter, the office exploded. "Xiaochuan, you are leaving." "Why resign so suddenly? Did you find another job? Being this decisive, are you going back to inherit a massive family fortune?" Hearing everyone's concern, I put down my things and smiled gently. "I am going back to get married." My colleagues nodded in realization, but my close friend Xin Hao leaned in and asked, "Lin Chuan, has your girlfriend finally agreed to marry you?" How did she suddenly come around? I did not feel like explaining, so I changed the subject. "Thanks for looking out for me all these years. I will treat everyone to dinner later." After work, I had dinner with some colleagues for 2 hours. When I rushed to the hotel, it was already 8 o'clock. I hurried to the private room. Just as I was about to push the door open, the conversation inside made me pause. "It is so cold outside. Who is Ruyan? Picking up who else? But Chen Zi. I heard him saying that he is coming back today, so she eagerly went to pick him up. Really, Ruyan must be thrilled. It is her 28th birthday today, and in a month, Chen Zi will be 28 too. Coming back now, could he really be here to fulfill his promise? I heard that Chen Zi is single again. It looks like he is really back. But if they actually get together, what about Lin Chuan? We have kept him in the dark for 7 years. He does not even know who Chen Zi is. Yet he is still blindly in love with her. Ruyan is head over heels for Chen Zi. If Chen Zi fulfills his promise, Lin Chuan is absolutely getting dumped. He can only blame his bad luck. Fortunately, he has no background, so breaking up will be easy. Though he has been great to us and Ruyan all these years, we are her best friends, so we must stand on her side. When they split, let us not make it hard for Ruyan. We can step in and give him a car or an apartment as a breakup fee." I listened quietly without moving. Since I had already decided to leave, I was not as sad as before. Instead, I found it amusing. Liu Ruyan wanted to break up and needed her friends to buy me off. What kind of relationship have I been in for these 7 years? Too bad for them this time. I am leaving first. Standing outside, just then a few waiters pushed a wine cart over, and I quickly stepped aside. The moment the door opened, the chatter inside stopped instantly as if nothing had happened. Smiling, I walked in and greeted everyone warmly. After a brief chat, Liu Ruyan walked in again with a strange man. Looking at the figure who looked slightly like me, I quietly observed him. Liu Ruyan led him around the private room before finally walking over to introduce him. "This is my childhood friend Chen Zi, who I grew up with." Liu Ruyan hesitated for a moment before continuing, "And this is my ordinary friend Lin Chuan." When she said this, she expected me to be angry, but things went completely beyond her expectations. I showed no reaction at all. Instead, I just looked up and gave her a deep glance, then stepped back, keeping my distance from them. With a faint smile, I said, "Hello, Mr. Chen. I am Liu Ruyan's ordinary friend." After the introductions, the room became lively again. Chenze was very outgoing and got along with everyone. Holding a glass of wine, he went around the room, dragging people into drinking games. When things got exciting, his hands were busy with cards, so he asked to be fed some watermelon. Without thinking, Liu Ruyan used her own fork to feed him. Chenze did not think much of it, leaned over to eat, and then picked up her glass to drink some red wine. Sitting a few meters away, I watched Liu Ruyan hold onto that same glass, drinking cup after cup. And every time she drank, her lips touched the exact spot where Chenze had just sipped. By the end, she was already a bit drunk, but we still had to do the birthday routine. Everyone sang while telling her to blow out the candles. In the noisy room, the private room went dead silent. I stood up, rolled the cake in, and lit the candles. Staring at the number 28, Liu Ruyan rubbed her temples to shake off the alcohol, her unfocused eyes scanning the room. She raised a finger and said, "No birthday wish for me this year. Let's do a question instead." She pointed right at Chenze, her hazy yet intense gaze locking onto him. "Zai, you are almost turning 28. Tell me, do you have a girlfriend right now?" Instantly, the room went quiet as everyone exchanged looks. Feeling all eyes on him, Chenze sat up a bit and replied, "No, I don't." After a brief hush, someone squealed in excitement and the room exploded. Her drunk friends jumped up, pushing a tipsy Liu Ruyan into the center as they started dancing. Watching the chaos, I sat there quietly. I did not move, calmly playing the part of the clueless, ordinary friend kept in the dark. The party dragged on until midnight. When everyone finally scattered, I helped a drunken Liu Ruyan into the car. Still riding her high, she collapsed into my chest, sobbing out her deepest thoughts. "Don't leave. Stay with me. Why can everyone else have you but not me? I've waited years for you." Up front, the driver chuckled the entire drive. As we got out, he saw me holding up my drunk girl and teased, "Man, your girlfriend really loves you." I smiled faintly and replied, "She loves Chenze, but I am not him." Waking up hungover, Liu Ruyan remembered last night and scrambled to explain. "Lin Chuan, they poured me so many drinks the second I arrived. I was just talking nonsense. It was the alcohol talking, don't mind it." I was surprised she remembered, and even more surprised by her pathetic excuse. Still, I calmly played along. I nodded and said, "It is fine. I know." Seeing my completely flat expression, she seemed to panic a little. She probably remembered my quiet reaction when she introduced me to Chenze yesterday. Feeling uneasy, she quickly changed the subject. "I got so caught up in drinking last night that I completely ignored you. Are you mad? Let's go on a date after work today, okay? I have some things to do this afternoon, so I cannot go." My flat refusal only made her insist on making it up to me. I finally gave in. Just as I was about to walk out, my coworker texted me, "Lin Chuan, did you not tell your girl you resigned? She came looking for you and she seems furious." Right then, my phone rang with her name. I stared at the screen, a heavy feeling washing over me. I hesitated before answering, only for her angry voice to explode through the receiver. "Your colleague said you quit your job to get married." She kept lecturing me coldly. "I told you, I do not want to get married yet." It hit me then that she thought I was trying to force her hand. I patiently tried to explain the situation. It was just an office joke. I quit because I have been feeling exhausted and need a break. Her voice finally softened. "Do not make jokes like that again." Then she asked, "Where are you right now? Do you want me to come over?" I was about to share my location when I heard a faint laugh over the line. It sounded like Chenze saying yes. The words died in my throat. "No need," I said. A self-mocking smile crept onto my face. If she actually wanted to see me, she would not have hung up so fast. It was just for show. I hailed a cab and went to the restaurant alone. I pushed open the door to find a table piled high with food, but no sign of her. The waiter explained politely, "Miss Liu called 10 minutes ago to order. She said you should eat first. She has an emergency and might be late." I smiled, knowing exactly what that meant. An emergency. She was probably with Chenze again. To her, even his smallest issue was a massive emergency. I did not let it ruin my night. I sat down and the waiter eagerly began describing each dish. Staring at the massive seafood spread, I sighed. I had eaten way too much seafood during my years abroad. I grew completely sick of it back then and still avoided it now. In the past, I would have forced myself to eat it just to make her happy. But now I was done compromising. I waved my hand to clear the table. "Sir, Miss Liu already paid for this. It is extremely expensive, and we cannot offer a refund if we clear it." I pulled out my card. "I know." Take it away and bring me something else. Use this card. Trust me, I can pay for it. Liu Ruyan never showed up. I paid left and was halfway home when she texted. Lin Chuan, can you stay at a hotel tonight? He just got back and his place is not ready. He is freezing and his stomach hurts. Can he stay over? She wanted to play nurse while hiding me. It was almost funny how hard she worked to keep him from finding out about us. I was not in the mood to play along anymore. He is your friend, right? Why hide us? How long will this go on? She did not explain, only texting back a single date, January 18th. In the past, I would not have understood, but now I know that is his birthday. If he agrees to be with her that day, she will dump me instantly. If he rejects her, she will settle for me and suggest marriage. I am just her safety net, the backup. Boyfriend she can fall back on. It is a perfect fallback plan. No matter what happens, she wins. I almost admire her brilliant calculation. Too bad I am done being her backup option. I ignored her message, shut off my phone, and booked a hotel room. After a few drinks, I slept until the next afternoon. Turning on my phone, dozens of missed alerts flooded in. Most were from her, with a few angry demands from her friends. Where are you? Ruyan went crazy searching for you all night. I smirked at their dramatic accusations. Since when is turning off my phone a threat? Besides, they all knew she only ever cared about Chen Zi. Would they actually care if I lived or died? Right. Then her call came through her voice, sharp with irritation. Lin Chuan, he was just staying for one night. Is this really worth throwing a tantrum? You do not need to act out like this. I did not have the energy to argue, so I gave a flat excuse. I am not mad. My battery just died. Usually she would buy it, but not today. Then why is it that you were always reachable before, but turned it off last night? Her question caught me off guard, triggering a rush of memories. Years ago, when she had late-night stomach cramps, she called me by mistake instead of her assistant. I drove across town to deliver medicine. Last year, she called me at 3 a.m. during a business trip to ask for a file. I forced myself awake to find it for her. 3 months ago, while recovering from appendix surgery, she texted saying she wanted milk tea. I actually had the nurse fetch her one. Every little thing was proof of my devotion. But she never truly noticed any of it. I only kept it on because I was terrified of missing your calls, I said with a quiet laugh. But yesterday you did not need me. My tone seemed to startle her. In our 7 years together, I had always been agreeable, never starting an argument. I never forced her to explain anything. I took care of every single detail of our lives. She knew I was the perfect boyfriend. Remembering how well I treated her, her voice softened. I understand. I was just terrified something happened to you, which is why I snapped. Where are you now? I will come find you. I did not want to see her, so I refused and took a cab home. The housekeeper immediately told me she had just left. I knew Chen Zi had summoned her again. His cologne still hung in the air. I did not ask questions, only instructing the housekeeper to air out the house. I did not see her for the next 2 weeks. I completely stopped reaching out. I monitored her whereabouts through Chen Zi's social media, but I had no desire to question her. Each passing day was just a countdown for me. Why waste energy on someone I was about to leave? On New Year's Eve, snow began to fall. I spent a peaceful night watching movies by the window. At midnight, fireworks boomed across the sky. Feeling tired, I leaned back in my rocking chair, scrolling through my social feed. Suddenly, heavy footsteps echoed from the hallway. I sat up just in time to see a completely wasted Liu Ruyan stumble in, tossing a pile of shopping bags onto the sofa. She tore them open one by one. I bought you these scarves because of the snow. Are you cold, Lin Chuan? And look, I got you a Rolex. Do you like your New Year gift? She piled the gifts onto my lap. I unclasped the heavy scarf, but she grabbed my hands to apologize. I'm sorry I have been so busy. Are you mad I should not have stood you up? Can you forgive me? Let's make things right. As she said this, Liu Ruyan leaned in to kiss me. I couldn't stand the smell of alcohol on her, and I had no idea what was wrong with her. After coaxing her into the bedroom, I started tidying up the living room, picking up the bags scattered all over the floor. Then, I unlocked my phone. My social feed was filled with couples flaunting their love, but Chen Zi's post caught my eye. He posted a 9-photo grid with a girl in the snow. The caption was interesting. First snow, and meeting someone new, the right person to love. Seeing this, all my doubts vanished. No wonder Liu Ruyan came home drunk, suddenly trying to play nice. It turns out her crush had found a new partner. It all makes sense now. If it weren't for that, how could she ever think of me? Her old placeholder sarcasm flashed in my eyes as I unstrapped my watch and tossed it onto the table. Over the next few days, she became a different person. She went nowhere, staying home, claiming she wanted to keep me company. When my stomach flared up, she stayed by my side to brew rice porridge. When I stared at a travel ad, she began planning a trip for us after the new year. Having been hurt herself, she was acting more attentive than ever before, but I wouldn't be moved by her again. I quietly watched Liu Ruyan play the part of a perfect girlfriend running around because of a few words I said, feeling absolutely zero guilt. This is our final stretch together. Let her efforts pay for her past emotional debts. Thinking this way, I felt completely at ease. Once the snow stopped, my mother sent me some suit designs asking which one I liked. I held up my phone, zooming in to study the details. Perhaps because I was too focused, I didn't notice Liu Ruyan creeping up beside me. I didn't notice a thing until she snatched my phone away. I turned around only to see her face instantly darken. A groom suit. Why are you looking at groom suits? Without blinking an eye, I casually spun a lie. Didn't I tell you? A friend's getting married, and there was an issue with his wedding suit. He's ordering a new one and wanted my advice. Seeing that my expression was perfectly normal, she slowly let go of her suspicion and handed the phone back. She then asked, I forgot what date is the wedding. Let me go with you. Looking at her serious face, a subtle smile played on my lips. January 19th. Do you really want to go? Hearing that date, she froze slightly. I stared at her patiently, waiting for her answer. After a long silence, she forced a tight smile. I'll see when the time comes. Ever since that question, she fell back into a daze, going about her days like a ghost, clearly weighed down by heavy thoughts. With the wedding as an excuse, I didn't hide anything, packing my bags right in front of her. It had been 6 years since we moved into this riverfront apartment after graduation. I only packed things I bought myself, leaving everything else behind. Anyway, once I'm back in Jingbei, it's my home turf. I can buy whatever is missing so these things can stay. Occasionally, when she snapped out of it, she would look through my suitcase but never asked a thing. I knew her mind was elsewhere, waiting for Chenze's birthday invitation. She never noticed that I was quietly throwing away my personal belongings. As long as those matching couple items I used to treasure were still on display, she would never suspect I was leaving for good. After all in her eyes, I loved her enough to lay down my life. How could she ever suspect I was truly leaving? Adopting a fresh start packing felt incredibly easy. On January 18th, the sky was gloomy, threatening rain. She got up early and sat on the couch staring at her phone. I woke up a bit later and sat down for breakfast. Looking at the dark sky, the housekeeper asked Mr. Lin, "It looks like rain. Should you head to the airport early?" Hearing this, she looked up and asked, "Why are you going to the airport? I'm attending that wedding tomorrow. You said you'd think about it." Any decision, I asked, casually watching her closely. She went quiet for a few seconds before saying, "It's too far, I won't go." "I'll drive you to the airport." I wasn't surprised by her answer. I finished my toast, went to the bedroom, and grabbed my suitcase. Just as she buckled her seatbelt, her phone buzzed. She checked it in a hurry, and in the next second, a joy she could no longer hide flooded her eyes. She tossed her phone aside, unbuckled, and pushed open the door. Only after stepping out did she realize her behavior. Leaning in, she tried to explain, "Lin Chuan, something came up at the office. I have to handle it right away. I'll have the driver take you." After all these years, I could easily spot her lies from her shifting gaze. But I didn't call her out. I just nodded. While waiting for the driver to arrive, I opened my social feed. Sure enough, Chenzi had posted photos from his birthday. The young girl was nowhere in sight. Looks like they broke up again. This meant his old promise that if he wasn't married by 28, he would end up with Liu Ruyan was active again. No wonder she was so thrilled. By the time the driver arrived, she had changed into a white evening gown and sat eagerly in her sports car. Lowering the window, she waved, "When will you be back?" I smiled, offering no answer. She didn't care, speeding away in her sports car. Sitting in the passenger seat, I watched her car vanish, then quietly told the driver, "Let's go." The sky began to drizzle, wetting the windows and blurring the world outside. I didn't want to look anymore. Closing my eyes, I whispered a silent goodbye to this city. Before boarding, my father called. "Lin Chuan, what time does your flight land?" "I'll have the driver pick you up." Wanting to get home soon, I accepted. I hadn't slept well the night before, so I drifted off as soon as the plane took off, sleeping through the 2-hour flight. Landing in Jingbei, I put on my sunglasses and walked out the arrival gate only to be stopped by someone. Lin Chuan, hearing the crisp voice, I nodded sleepily. "Uncle Gao sent me to pick you up." I squinted at Shen Youchu, thinking she was the driver, but wondered why the driver was such a beautiful girl. Once in the car, I leaned against the window and drifted off again. When I woke up, we were parked outside an unfamiliar villa. Confused, I asked, "This isn't my house, is it?" Seeing my reaction, Shen Youchu smiled softly. Not today, but it will be tomorrow. To be precise, it's our future home. Her answer froze me on the spot. Thoroughly awake now, I pulled off my hat and sunglasses to look at her, meeting her warm, smiling eyes. Sensing my shock, Shen Youchu understood. She extended her hand gracefully. I forgot to introduce myself. Mr. Lin, I'm Shen Youchu. Squeezing out an awkward smile, I shook her hand, my voice full of embarrassment. I'm so sorry I was half asleep and mistook you for the driver. I'm Lin Chuan. She smiled, her voice light and warm. It's fine. We have plenty of time to get to know each other. Meanwhile, on the other side, Liu Ruyan stood outside the private suite, smoothing down her dress, carefully smoothing out every wrinkle. When her phone buzzed, she saw a message from the driver saying I had boarded. After hesitating, she typed out a text to me. Let me know when you land. Trying to compose her emotions, she took a deep breath and pushed open the door. Her eyes locked onto the man in the center, the one she had yearned for. Her heart raced as she walked over. Standing near the crowd, she overheard a few guys teasing him. Z, you've got to introduce her to us today. Why hide her for so long? What's the rush? I'll blow your minds when I make my wish later. Hearing this, she recalled her own birthday party a month ago, and hope bloomed in her chest. Was their joke from when they were 16 finally coming true? For hours, her mind was consumed by this. She nervously kept drinking, and when the cake was rolled out, her hands were trembling slightly. Her close friends gathered around, giving her knowing looks. Ruyan, your dream is finally coming true. How does it feel? She lowered her head with a shy smile. Tang Yan, who was also laughing along, suddenly remembered something. She put an arm around her shoulder. But if you guys get together, what about Lin Chuan, hearing my name at Chenzi's party? Her smile froze, guilt flashing across her face. Seeing her expression, her friends chimed in. Just break up. He's just some ordinary guy anyway, easy to brush off. If he tries to cause a scene, we'll handle him for you. Don't worry. Urged by her friend, she took out her phone and slowly typed a few words, but her finger hovered over the send button. Seeing her hesitate, her impatient friends grabbed her hand and forced her finger down. Right below. Let me know when you land a new message was sent. Let's break up. Those two messages were sent 3 hours apart. Calculating the time, my plane must have landed so I'd see it soon. While she was still lost in thought, her friends dragged her to the center. Under the chorus of birthday wishes, she looked on with hope. Chenza clasped his hands and made his wish. I hope my 28th year is perfect and that I can make next year's wish with Jiajia. Her smiling face drained of all color in an instant while everyone else in the room gasped in surprise. Who's Jiajia? Introduce her amidst the cheering. Chenzi smiled. My new girlfriend. Right then, the door pushed open and a beautiful girl stepped into the room, smiling at the crowd. Hi everyone, I'm Chenzi's girlfriend, Xia Jiajia. Amid the cheering, Chenzi proudly held her hand, sharing sweet relationship details. Meanwhile, she sat in the corner, downing drink after drink with her friends until they were all completely wasted. Tang Yin stumbled over to Chenza. Under everyone's stunned gazes, she tried to stand up for her friend. Chenza, did you forget the promise you made to Ruyan back then? Hearing this, Xia Jiajia looked at him with curiosity. A promise? What promise? His face turned incredibly ugly, but the drunk Tang Yan didn't care. The other friends quickly stepped in to back her up. You promised her that you'd be together when you turned 28? Are you going to be a traitor? Xia Jiajia's smile faded as she stared at Chenzi. Is that true? How can you take a drunken joke seriously? Chenzi snapped. That only applied when I was single, but I have a girlfriend now. How does that count? Every word stabbed Liu Ruyan's heart like a knife. Clutching her aching chest, she forced herself up from the sofa under everyone's gaze. She burst into hysterical laughter. Doesn't count. You have a girlfriend and I have a boyfriend. It was all a joke. Those words brought a smile back to Xia Jiajia's face. She nodded, took Chenzi's hand and walked over to Liu Ruyan. She acted as if absolutely nothing had happened. A total misunderstanding then. I heard Ruyan has a boyfriend. Why did she not bring him? Liu Ruyan's mind went completely blank, but she forced a smile to meet Xia Jiajia's gaze. He is away, attending a wedding, so he was busy. Xia Jiajia nodded understandingly, but Chenzi's eyes flashed with resentment, his voice dripping with doubt. Boyfriend. Who is he? I have been back for so long and never heard you mention him. Staring at Chenzi's face, Liu Ruyan was speechless. Tang Yan rushed to support her, glaring at Chenzi mockingly. Lin Chuan is Ruyan's boyfriend. She sneered. He was the most handsome guy at her birthday party. It was him Chenzi recalled that night when I smiled and called myself just a friend. Sensing something was off, he questioned them. But that day, they both claimed to be just friends. Just a lover's quarrel, another retorted. You have dated so many girls, yet you do not get this? That comment turned Chenzi's face red with anger. Glaring at Tang Yan, he snapped. Because I have seen so much, I asked. Since you all claim he is her boyfriend, why don't I call him? It is a perfect chance to meet the new brother-in-law. Instantly, Liu Ruyan and her friends went pale, remembering the breakup message from earlier. Seeing their faces, Chenzi knew he had them. He pulled out his phone, found my WeChat, and initiated a voice call. The women rushed to grab the phone, but Xiaojia protectively blocked them. Chenzi went all the way, turning the volume up to the maximum. He put it on speaker for the entire room. The noisy crowd fell dead silent, leaving only the ringing. Liu Ruyan hid her clenched fists inside her sleeves, praying desperately in her heart that I would not answer the call. She prayed that I had not seen her message yet. During that agonizing minute of ringing, her heart pounded violently. Just as the call was about to disconnect and interest was fading, it went through. Mr. Chen, what is it? Liu Ruyan's face drained of color, contrasting sharply with Chenzi's smug grin. Nothing much. It is my birthday today, and I heard you are Ruyan's boyfriend. I wanted to invite you to come over and celebrate with us. The line fell silent. Liu Ruyan was so tense she could barely breathe. Sorry, I am in Jingbei right now, so I cannot make it. Hearing my calm voice, she assumed I had not seen her message yet, but my words did not end there. I added with a meaningful laugh. By the way, I have already broken up with Liu Ruyan. Please do not misunderstand. Chenzi was surprised, but mostly thrilled. Broken up. When did this happen? Just a little while ago, about 10 minutes ago, I received her breakup message. The crowd of onlookers wanted to laugh, but held it in. Chenzi kept his smug smile casting a cold gaze over those wealthy socialites. All right, I will pass that on. Sorry to bother you, Mr. Lin. No trouble. Happy 28th birthday, and may all lovers find happiness. Whether intentional or not, I heavily emphasized the words 28th during my blessing. It was as if I was signaling that I already knew the truth. Nobody dared to ask a thing, only watching the call disconnect. The atmosphere instantly dropped to freezing, leaving the room dead silent for over 5 minutes. Finally, Xiaojia smoothed things over, raising a glass to Liu Ruyan to let the matter slide. Liu Ruyan downed. The very last drop of her drink slammed the glass onto the table and stormed out with her friends. Before leaving, Liu Ruyan overheard a brief conversation. Z is this Mr. Lin from Jingbei, I heard. What about him? Nothing. The Lin name in Jingbei just sounds familiar. Maybe I am just overthinking it. Once they left the banquet hall, her friends pulled her into a private room, comforting her all at once. Ruyan, it is good you are not marrying Chenzi. With the number of ex-girlfriends he had over 7 years, the wedding banquets would be a total mess. A playboy like him would definitely bring trouble. You should stay with Lin Chuan. He is better than Chenzi in every way. He only said those things because he was angry. Just go back, coax him, and explain. He loves you so much he will understand. With her friends boosting her confidence, Liu Ruyan calmed down. She pulled out her phone, found my contact, and racked her brain to draft a message. Lin Chuan, I just lost a game. The penalty was to say we broke up, then call you to see your reaction. Do not take it seriously. Are you and Jingbei checked in? Or busy, setting up the wedding venue? When are you back? Can I pick you up? Long after sending it, there was no reply. Liu Ruyan stared at her screen, panic rising. Her friends exchanged looks, quickly trying to distract her. A wedding is always busy, he must be tied up. Don't overthink it. Once Lin Chuan is free, he will reply. If he is really mad, we will go to Jingbei with you tomorrow to apologize. When I received her message, I was accompanying Shen Youchu as she tried on wedding dresses. I opened the message and laughed at the first line. What a clever excuse to make up on the spot. Too bad I will not believe a word. I could already picture her trying to save face after Chenzi publicly rejected her. Thinking back to that bizarre phone call, the actual scene was probably even more spectacular. At that moment, I actually felt a bit of regret for missing the show. I sighed softly. Shen Youchu, who was adjusting her gown, looked up. What is wrong? Is this gown not pretty? I can order a new one. No, it is just a shame I missed a good show because of our wedding preparations. What show care to share? Though I wanted to tell her I knew mentioning an ex to my fiancé was a bad idea, so I changed the subject. Just some old Shanghai friends having a birthday. A silly misunderstanding, nothing major. Let's focus on our wedding. Seeing I avoided the topic, she did not push. She brought some pastries from the living room. Hungry, have a snack first. We can go out to eat later. What do you feel like? I was indeed hungry, so I noted down her cravings and headed out. As I ordered, I fell into deep thought. According to what I had gathered, Shen Youchu is the third daughter of the Jingbei Shen group, 2 years younger than me. Her second sister is 2 years older, and her eldest sister is 5 years older, currently the vice president of their group. Raised by her eldest sister, she had an elegant upbringing. The Lin and Shen families had frequent contact, and my family evaluated everything carefully before proposing this marriage alliance. I heard that Shen Youchu agreed immediately after seeing my photo, seemingly pleased with me. I did not quite believe that. After all, I only returned to marry to do my duty for the Lin family after ending my previous relationship. From the start, I never took this marriage alliance seriously. If it worked, great. If not, we would divorce. There was no love at first sight like my mother claimed. Yet after an afternoon together, details showed me she was a good person. My fiancée is wonderful. Her looks are stunning and her personality is incredibly gentle and kind. She is organized, attentive, and possesses great social grace. Overall, when it comes to this unexpected fiancé of mine, I am extremely satisfied. Beyond that, I felt a pleasant surprise. It seems my parents have excellent taste. After drinking all night, the first thing Liu Ruyan did when she woke up was check her phone to see if I had replied. Hours had passed, and the chat was still blank. Liu Ruyan rubbed her eyes and threw her phone against the wall, waking everyone up. Seeing her rage, they sobered up immediately. Who knew Lin Chuan liked to play hard to get? Don't worry, Ruyan, we will go with you to coax him back. The others quickly comforted her, which eased her mind. Leaving the bar, they went straight to the airport. On the road, Liu Ruyan stared blankly at the distant skyscrapers. If she had known she would end up disappointed, she would have gone to Jingbei with me yesterday. The more she thought, the more dejected she felt, trying to convince herself it was fine. After hearing Chen Zi's words, over the years, she had wanted to give up, but because of their 28th year agreement, she kept holding on to hope. Especially after being with me, she was nearly driven mad by the conflict, not knowing how to face me, the boyfriend who loved her unconditionally. Now, she had to choose. Being greedy, she asked her friends, if I cannot win him over today, I want to propose marriage. What do you think? Hearing the word marriage, her friends gasped. Marry Lin Chuan. Your parents will never agree with his background. He is handsome and sweet, but dating him is one thing. Actually marrying him is a completely different story. He is not a match. Although they poured cold water on her, Liu Ruyan ignored them. Leaning back, her mind replayed our memories. After her 25th birthday, every few months, I would bring up marriage to test her. She knew my thoughts and that my family was pushing, but selfishly pretended not to understand. Now we were no longer young, and since I was so deeply in love with her, she did not want to lose me. Though marriage would be incredibly difficult, she was willing to try. With that, Liu Ruyan made up her mind to propose in Jingbei. She messaged her assistant asking to prepare the setup that had recently gone viral. Before boarding her flight, Liu Ruyan's assistant reported that the wedding rings she wanted had been sold for a staggering 900 million. Shocked by such a crazy price for mere rings, she asked for the buyer's name. The assistant replied with a single word, Shen. Thinking of the prestigious Shen family of Jingbei, a household name in their circle, Liu Ruyan was astonished. Since she knew the second Miss Shen, she called to ask, "Oh, those rings, I bought them. My sister is getting married today, and they are my gift to the newlyweds." "Ruyan, you asked too late. Is the third Miss Shen also marrying today? What a coincidence for all these weddings to happen at once." A flash of surprise crossed her eyes. Carefully choosing her words, she politely apologized. "I must have had too much to drink and forgot to bid. Second Miss, please convey my congratulations to your sister. I wonder which lucky gentleman got so fortunate my sister is marrying the young master of the Lin family. It is a perfect equal match." The moment she heard the name, Liu Ruyan's heart skipped a beat. She immediately thought of Lin Chuan. Was he attending the Shen and Lin wedding? Did a guy from a small town like Lin Chuan have cousins or friends in Jingbei? Wild theories flooded her mind, but they vanished completely the moment the freezing winter wind hit her face. Shaking her head, she massaged her temples to dismiss these absurd thoughts. How could a simple town boy have anything to do with the prestigious Lin family? But as soon as her plane touched down at the capital airport, Liu Ruyan dialed my number. Amidst the noisy background on my end, my tone was anything but warm. Is there a reason my ex-girlfriend is calling me? Hearing that label, Liu Ruyan's blood boiled as she remembered yesterday, but she forced herself to keep her temper in check. Suppressing her rage, she explained patiently, "Lin Chuan, yesterday's breakup was just a joke. Can you please believe me? Is that so? I don't care if it was a game. I only trust what my own eyes see. There is no need for explanations. I'm extremely busy right now and have no time to chat." Without waiting for her response, I hung up. Her face turned black with rage. Don't argue over the phone. Just play nice when you meet him, her friends advised, trying to soothe her. Only then did Liu Ruyan's face soften. To Tingquan Villa, she ordered. But as those words left her mouth, her friends exchanged stunned glances. Isn't that Jingbei's most exclusive luxury estate? Home to powerful elites who could shake the entire country with a single cough. Why would Lin Chuan's friend host a wedding feast there? Liu Ruyan's heart began to beat nervously. The wild thoughts from earlier started creeping back into her mind. Could it be that Lin Chuan really was a distant relative of the almighty Lin family? By 10:30, the guests were taking their seats. As I stood on the rooftop balcony looking at the venue Shen Youchu had meticulously designed, I realized my mother's description of our grand wedding wasn't an exaggeration at all. If anything, she had been quite modest. For the alliance of the Lin and Shen families, every elite in the city was bound to attend. But even with 700 or 800 tables, this venue seemed massive. Though the sun was shining, it was still winter and a biting chill hung in the air. To keep guests comfortable, countless heaters were scattered around and fresh flowers flown in from Europe adorned the stage. Even the wedding favors given to every single guest were pure gold locks. Everyone got one, showing just how lavish this whole affair was. Such insane extravagance made even me, who grew up abroad, feel a little guilty about the cost. I fixed my wind-blown hair. Just as I was about to sigh, Shen Youchu walked over. It is freezing out here. Let's go inside. I nodded and followed her. Handing me a cup of hot coffee, she asked, someone called, saying they just arrived in Jingbei. They asked where the wedding is. Is it a friend of yours? Do we need to pick them up? Friend. I checked my phone logs and saw Liu Ruyan's name. So she actually made it to Jingbei. A cold smirk played on my lips. No need to pick them up. They'll find their way in. By the way, there are too many people here. I noticed paparazzi on the nearby hills, so let's tighten up our security. Just in case someone tries to cause trouble. Shen Youchu agreed without a second thought. Before leaving the room, she handed me our wedding bands. As soon as the door closed behind her, the laughter I had been suppressing for so long finally burst out. Liu Ruyan was actually coming to my wedding. I could only imagine how priceless her expression would be the moment she saw me standing on that stage. I lifted the ring box and opened it, but as I stared at the bands inside, I froze. I had seen these exact rings in a magazine 2 months ago and even shared them with Liu Ruyan. Back then, I was still dreaming of kneeling down to propose to her. Who could have guessed that just 2 weeks later, I would find out about her and Shenzhe? The dream wedding and the perfect rings, I have them all now. As for the bride, upgrading her was the best decision ever. Looking back, I feel absolutely zero regret for the last 7 years. Only relief. At exactly 11 o'clock, the ceremony officially commenced. Under the gaze of hundreds, her father slowly walked her down the aisle and handed her hand over to me. After completing the initial vows, we quickly arrived at the ring exchange. I picked up the wedding band, ready to slide it onto her finger, when suddenly a loud commotion broke out. Turning around, I spotted Liu Ruyan instantly. She was pushing through the security guards like a madwoman, her eyes locked onto the stage. Her friends charged forward right behind her, screaming my name at the top of their lungs. This sudden disruption instantly drew the attention of every single guest, their eyes darting back and forth. Facing those judging stares, I remained completely calm. I glanced at Liu Ruyan, whose face was a mixture of intense fury and utter confusion. I quickly turned and whispered to Shen Youchu, I'm sorry, those are some acquaintances of mine from Shanghai. Can we pause the ceremony for just a few minutes so I can handle them? She hesitated but nodded. I signaled the staff to halt the proceedings. The security guards had already pinned them down and were dragging them away, but stopped when I raised my hand. From start to finish, Liu Ruyan's gaze was locked onto me. Seeing me standing there in my handsome groom suit, she completely lost her temper. You told me you were coming to Jingbei for a friend's wedding, she shrieked. Is this friend actually yourself? I almost laughed out loud. Well, isn't it common knowledge that asking for a friend usually means yourself? My response nearly drove her insane with rage. Closing her eyes, she took a deep breath, her gaze burning with fury. Is this why you married someone else behind my back? Behind my back, the alliance between the Lin and Shen families has been trending for over a month. Do you just never go online? Hearing those two names, something suddenly clicked. She whipped her head to stare at my bride. Shen Youchu's face bore a striking resemblance to her older sister, Shen Youchu. Liu Ruyan's eyes widened in sheer horror, her lips trembling as absolute disbelief washed over her. If Shen Youchu was marrying Lin Chuan, then who exactly was he? Behind her, Tang Yan and the others also put the pieces together. They let out a collective gasp of pure shock. Lin Chuan, you belong to the almighty Lin family of Jingbei. I stared at them calmly and patiently, introduced myself. To be exact, I am the next sole heir of the Jingbei Lin family, the only son of Lin Aoqian and Ye Xing and Shen Youchu's groom. Do any of you still have doubts about my identity? That heavy list of titles instantly silenced the group. Back in Shanghai, these wealthy young ladies could get away with anything, but this was the capital, and their family status meant absolutely nothing in front of the Lin and Shen families. After a long, agonizing silence, Liu Ruyan finally spoke in a hoarse voice, asking the one question that mattered to her. "Why did you never tell me? Didn't you hide plenty from me too?" I retorted. "Like your secret promise." Just those 2 sentences turned her face completely pale. She desperately began scrambling for excuses. "I can explain, Lin Chuan, yes. I couldn't forget Chenzhe, but over the last 7 years..." Before she could finish, Shen Youchu, who had been watching in silence, calmly cut her off. She turned to security and said, "Remove them." Holding my hand, she suggested gently, "This is not the place to settle this, Lin Chuan. After the ceremony, we can invite your friends for a private dinner. Let's not keep our guests waiting any longer." I was amazed by how calmly and decisively she handled the situation. I never expected her to make such a bold choice at a time like this. Although I nodded in agreement, my mind was full of questions. But now was not the time. Shen Youchu linked her arm in mine, and we stepped back to the stage center. The upbeat piano music filled the air once more. Amid the roaring applause, we officially exchanged our rings. As the bouquet was tossed, a shower of rose petals, feathers, and ribbons drifted down from the sky. The warm midday sun illuminated Shen Youchu's stunningly beautiful face. Turning my back on the past, I stepped forward into a bright new future. Once the massive celebration wrapped up, a wave of exhaustion hit me. Thinking back to everything that unfolded today, I figured it was time to have a completely honest talk with Shen Youchu. "Is there anything you want to ask me about today?" She paused, wiping her face, and looked at me with her bright, intelligent eyes. "If you want to talk, I have questions. But if you don't, then I have nothing to ask." Her incredibly graceful attitude caught me off guard. For the first time, I felt like I had married someone truly extraordinary. "Aren't you at all curious about my history with those people? Or worried about whatever drama might be lurking behind the scenes?" Shen Youchu sat down gracefully on an armchair, looking completely poised. "I am curious, and I do worry," she admitted calmly. "But none of that matters. What matters is that our wedding was a success. You are now my husband, and we will build our future together. If you choose to share your past, I will gladly listen. And if you want to keep it to yourself, I understand. The past is already behind us, so why dwell on things we cannot change?" Her words highlighted the massive gap between her and Liu Ruyan. Touched by her wisdom, I decided to lay everything on the table. "That crowd at the wedding was my ex-girlfriend, and her friends," I said, laying it all bare. "We were together for 7 years, and I actually planned on marrying her, but I discovered she loved someone else, so I ended it. Then my parents started pushing me to marry, and I simply agreed to our match. We only officially ended things yesterday. She had no idea who my family was, which is why she crashed the venue." As she listened, a subtle, complex expression crossed her face. "You broke up yesterday and got married today. Isn't that a bit rushed?" she asked, perhaps. "But since ours is purely a business alliance, as long as we present a united, happily married front to the public, shouldn't that be enough?" I said this with absolute nonchalance, leaving her to stare at me in silence. Her lips curled slightly. "So you don't care what your arranged partner is like?" "Not really," I replied. "I just want to inherit the Lin group soon." Shen Yuchu's heart skipped a beat. She stared at me for a long time before nodding gently. Meanwhile, Liu Ruyan was dragged hundreds of meters by security guards, suffering a humiliation she had never known. Her friends fared no better. They were all dumped outside the resort gates, too intimidated by the dozens of guards to speak up. And right down the steps stood hundreds of reporters holding cameras, frustrated at missing this wedding of the century. A few sharp-eyed journalists recognized Liu Ruyan instantly and rushed forward, shouting, "Miss Liu, were you also invited to Miss Shen and Mr. Lin's wedding? You don't look very well right now." Did something happen inside, led by one reporter? A crowd swarmed to take photos and interview her. Liu Ruyan was already in a terrible mood, and being caught looking this miserable made her snap. Furious, she shoved aside anyone in her way, smashed several cameras, and stormed off with her friends. By that night, the news of Liu Ruyan assaulting reporters topped the entertainment headlines, causing the Liu group's reputation to plummet overnight. Negative rumors flooded the internet, and even the Liu family's money couldn't suppress them. When Chenzei called Liu, Ruyan was locked in her hotel room, completely drunk. "Hello, Ruyan." I saw the news. "The man marrying into the Shen family, Lin Chuan, is he really from the Lin family? So what if he is hearing her confirm it?" Chenzei sounded excited. "Jiajia just told me the joint project by the 4 major families is fully formed. I heard the final decision lies with the authorities in Jingbei. Since you two dated for so many years, can you ask him to help us secure this project?" Though her mind was hazy with alcohol, Liu Ruyan kept a sliver of sanity and sneered. She sounded utterly hopeless. "Ask him for help. He already married Shen Youchu, so what you were together for 7 years, he must still have feelings for you. Just try. Your dad just called me asking where you were, and he sounded furious. If you can secure this project, he will calm down and overlook today's mess." Hearing this, Liu Ruyan wavered. Not daring to promise anything, she gave a vague answer and quickly hung up. She struggled up to splash cold water on her face, clearing her head. A few minutes later, Tang Yan knocked and came in to discuss the project. Liu Ruyan leaned back on the sofa, staring coldly out the window. Her mind was a chaotic mess. This massive, lucrative project was a battleground for factions from Jingbei, Shanghai, Hong Kong, and Macau. The 4 Shanghai families had only united to secure it. According to intelligence, the person in charge was highly likely to be my aunt Lin Jiao. If she could pull that wire, success would be guaranteed. After long consideration, Liu Ruyan decided to try not just for the project, but also out of her selfish desire to see me again. The day after my wedding, right after getting our certificate, I went straight to the Lin Group headquarters to assume the vice presidency. To help me adapt, my father handed over his top secretaries and assistants. I spent the whole day buried in reports, finally getting a grasp on the company. When I finally looked up, it was already dark, 8 in the evening. My office was the only one lit. "Why are you here?" I asked. Shen Youchu smiled gently, a hint of helplessness in her voice. "Today is only the 2nd day of our marriage. We are supposed to be on our wedding leave." I suddenly recalled her subtle expression when I insisted on going to the office this morning. Now I understood and felt deeply embarrassed. It is my first marriage, so I completely forgot. Besides, honeymoons are for ordinary couples. We are just a business arrangement, so we do not need to celebrate, right? A flash of disappointment crossed her eyes, though she hid it quickly. "If you are busy, we do not have to celebrate. But since we are married, surely Vice President Lin can spare time for dinner with his wife." Her teasing tone made me smile, and I could not help but chuckle. I readily agreed and got in the car. We chose a famous Western restaurant, but arriving late during peak hours meant all private rooms were taken. Too hungry to go elsewhere, we took a corner table by the window with her consent. Once we got the menus, she handed hers to me and recommended some signature dishes. Following her suggestions, I ordered 4 or 5 things I liked and handed the menu back, but she did not add anything. Really nothing else. "My taste might be a bit strange, and you might not like it." She smiled, her eyes shining. "Since we are married, we will eat together every day. I want to try what you like and slowly learn to appreciate it. We got married. We did not sell ourselves. You still have the right to eat what you like. You can speak your mind, and we can discuss anything. Anything. Then can we discuss not canceling our honeymoon?" she asked hopefully. Seeing her serious face, I thought she had some big demand, but she just blurted out honeymoon. I was surprised. "Do you really want to go? We have been busy with the wedding, and I want to rest. Plus, our parents want us to bond quickly. I think a honeymoon is a perfect opportunity. Do you not agree?" Hearing her sincere tone, all the excuses I had prepared died in my throat. Honestly speaking, Shen Youchu was a great wife who respected my opinions. A honeymoon did not matter much to me, and I did not want to hurt her over something so minor, so I agreed. Her smile bloomed beautifully at my response. "I will arrange it once you are less busy." Meanwhile, Liu Ruyan had waited outside my office all day. She followed us to the restaurant for a private chat, but I never left my seat, happily conversing with Shen Youchu. The sight of us sharing food and laughing deeply stung her. She had not touched her dinner for 2 hours, her eyes glued to my smiling face. The moment I stood up for the restroom, she rushed out after me. She stopped me in the hallway. "Lin Chuan, why did you marry Shen Youchu?" I turned around mildly surprised. "If I remember correctly, we broke up. What does my marriage have to do with you?" My indifferent tone made her feel slighted, and anger flared in her eyes. "Lin Chuan, your marriage was set over a month ago. We had not even broken up yet. You already found my replacement." I crossed my arms and glanced at her coldly. "A month ago, I decided to return to Jingbei to marry. But why are you angry? You planned 7 years ago to dump me on Chenzei's 28th birthday. Was I wrong to plan my own path a month in advance?" My words left her speechless. Clenching her fist, she swallowed her rising regret and tried to defend herself. It is not what you think. I know he does not like me, but we had a promise after all these years, so it became an obsession. I truly wanted to be with you. On the way to Jingbei, I was ready to propose. I even bought the ring. Can you believe me? Just once you only came back to me after he rejected you. Too bad I am already married. Why don't you propose to Chen Zhao? Maybe he will say yes. My biting sarcasm made her flinch. She took a step forward to grab my hand, but I quickly stepped back. I never loved him. I was just blind. After his birthday party, I realized I am used to having you by my side. I truly wanted to marry you. I used to think she had at least a shred of sincerity, but hearing her now only made me sick. You hate that Chen Zi rejected you and used you as a backup. Do you think waiting 7 years for him makes your devotion some grand romantic tragedy that should move the heavens? You have completely deluded yourself. But have you realized you are exactly like him? He stringed you along, and in your frustration, you stringed me along. You two are just cut from the same cloth. Do not play the victim in front of me. Instantly, all color drained from her face. I did not care about her feelings at all and did not want to waste another second, so I turned and walked back to the hall. As we brushed past each other, she grabbed my arm. My patience snapped and I violently shook her off. Suddenly, the heavy chandelier above creaked and came crashing straight down toward my head. In that split second of danger, Liu Ruyan instinctively shoved me aside. With a loud crash, the heavy metal chandelier slammed right onto her shoulder. Shoved several meters away, I stumbled into Shen Youchu, who had just arrived. I quickly turned around to look. Liu Ruyan was on the floor, curled up in agonizing pain, clutching her shattered shoulder as her face turned red. Waitstaff rushed over to check on her while Shen Youchu frowned and asked if I was hurt. Once she saw I was fine, she sighed in relief and led me away from the chaos. Watching us walk away together, Liu Ruyan bit her lip desperately, trying to hold back the choked sobs rising in her throat. She closed her eyes in despair as memories of me flooded her mind. When her stomach flared up, I never left her side, calling doctors and worrying constantly. When she bumped into a wall and bruised her arm, I boiled eggs to soothe the bruise. When she had insomnia, I stayed up to play music and cook warm soups. In the past, I cared about everything she did. Yet now, when she got hurt saving me, I showed no reaction and walked away with another woman. Only then did she realize I was no longer the man she knew. I was no longer hers, and I no longer loved her. Back home, my heart finally calmed down. I lay on the sofa sipping hot tea, still shaken by the incident. I turned to say something to Shen Youchu, only to see her squatting beside me with a medical kit. I'm not hurt. Why the first aid kit? Shen Youchu didn't answer. She just gently pointed to my ankle. Following her gaze, I realized a piece of broken glass had scraped a bit of skin off my heel. She picked up a cotton swab dipped in rubbing alcohol. This might sting a bit, she said. Honestly, this tiny cut was something I normally wouldn't even notice. Seeing her worry so much made me a little embarrassed. It's just a scratch, you don't need to worry, I said. But the second the alcohol touched the cut, I couldn't help but gasp. After cleaning it, Youchu covered the scrape with a Band-Aid. I'll have someone bring over some waterproof bandages later, she said. Keep it dry when you shower and just wear slippers if you have to go out. Since I was young, I had lived with my aunt. After returning to China through 4 years of college and 6 years of dating, I was always on my own. This was the first time someone made such a big deal over a tiny scratch. To ease the awkwardness, I tried to joke. No need to go to all that trouble. It'll probably heal before the bandages even get here. Youchu looked up, staring at me with a seriousness I'd never seen before. You got hurt today because of my oversight. I'm responsible. Whether it was her incredibly sincere tone or the flash of guilt in her eyes, my heart skipped a beat, fluttering uncontrollably. I looked down, unable to meet her gaze, and gave a quiet nod. Once Youchu left with the first aid kit, Tang Yan called. Are you really this heartless? Ruyan got seriously hurt saving you, and you won't even visit her. Hearing this groundless accusation, I refused to play the villain. I laughed coldly. If she hadn't been clinging to me, that chandelier never would have fallen near me. Her injury was her own doing, yet they blamed me. No matter what, she pushed you out of the way when it mattered. Do you have no feelings left? I almost admired her shameless ability to distort the truth. I didn't want to waste my breath. Glancing at the Band-Aid on my leg, I decided to lie. I'd love to visit, but my leg is injured too. I can't walk right now. After a long silence on the line, she cleared her throat. Her tone softened. Fine if you can't make it, but you still owe her. I heard the Yundao Project launch dinner is next month. Just have your secretary send over a few invitations, and we'll call it even. So that was her angle. I scoffed, but agreed anyway. After hanging up, I messaged my aunt to ask about the project details and requested she send a few invitations tomorrow. Over the next few days, no matter where I went, Youchu was right there with me. At first I told her to focus on her own work, but she kept using our upcoming marriage as an excuse. Slowly I realized that with her around, any work problem I faced became easier. She always had great advice. I grew used to having her around. Spending every day together, we grew close quickly. When I worked late, she sat nearby with her laptop quietly doing her own thing. If she had to go out, she always let me know first. On our days off, she took me out on dates, showing me cool new spots and fun little trinkets. 2 weeks later, on Chinese New Year's Eve, our families decided to celebrate together. Over a dozen of us gathered, chatting warmly in a lively, festive atmosphere. The conversation naturally kept drifting back to us newlyweds. My mother looked at Youchu and me with a proud smile, sighing. Lin Chuan is just as stubborn as his aunt. After graduation, I told him to come back to Beijing, but he refused. He insisted on making it on his own. I couldn't do a thing about it. Youchu, if he ever acts up, please bear with him. Hearing my mother tease me in front of everyone, I opened my mouth to protest, but Youchu placed a peeled mandarin orange in my hand. Smiling, she said, "Mom, you're too hard on him. Lin Chuan isn't stubborn, he's just independent and driven. Working with his aunt, he'll easily lead the family business. I actually need to learn from him so I don't hold him back." Her family chimed in with compliments, leaving my mother beaming with joy. "As long as you two get along, we're happy," she said cheerfully. "But we'd be even happier if you had a baby soon." The other elders began teasing us too, and my ears burned red. Noticing my embarrassment, Youchu quickly made an excuse and pulled me out to the garden. The crisp winter breeze finally helped cool my blushing face back to normal. Youchu smiled slightly and changed the subject. "Are you going to that banquet tomorrow?" "Yes, I personally handed over Liu Ruyan's invitation. I need to keep an eye on her and see what she's planning. Do you have an extra invitation? Can I get one too?" I looked up in surprise. "The project is good, but aren't you and your sister busy with that other venture right now? Why are you trying to scout out the competition at a time like this?" She knew I was teasing. She blinked a few times and replied, "Of course not. I don't care about the project. I just have free time over the holidays and want to hang out with you." I smiled, remembered I had one invite left, and led her downstairs to find my aunt. The banquet was at Beijing's largest hotel. At 7 p.m., the project director took the stage to kick things off. Our car got stuck in traffic, making us 30 minutes late. The moment we pushed open the door, my aunt was swarmed by eager guests who had been waiting for her. Seeing the crowd, I didn't want to get involved, so I pulled Youchu past them. We weren't there to network, so we casually strolled through the hall, enjoying the food and wine. Up on the second floor, Liu Ruyan leaned against the railing with a glass of champagne, instantly spotting me whispering with Youchu. Over the past month, she had thought a lot and given up on me. I was a Lin and Youchu was a Shen. She couldn't afford to offend either family, so she kept telling herself to move on and accept reality. But despite all her mental preparation, seeing us together in person, looking so close, made her burn with resentment. Her face went pale. Standing beside her, Chenzei followed her gaze to me, his eyes lighting up. He grabbed Xiajiajia and headed downstairs, and Tang Yan quickly followed with Rujian. The four of them pushed through the crowd to us. "Long time no see. I heard you recently got married. Congratulations." I offered a brief thanks, and the atmosphere instantly turned awkward. Not wanting the silence to drag, Xiajiajia nudged Chenzei. He quickly stepped up and waved at me. "Lin Chuan, do you remember me? We met about 2 months ago. Nice to see you again, Mr. Chen." Hearing my voice, Liu Ruyan finally looked up. She met my cold, indifferent gaze. "Lin Chuan, long time no see. I heard you got hurt that day. Are you okay now?" "Thanks to you, I've recovered nicely." My pointed tone made her flinch, a look of deep guilt washing over her face. She tried to explain, but Youchu cut her off. "Lin Chuan and I are here with his aunt." "I didn't expect to see you here, Jiajia. What brings you all the way to Beijing during the holidays?" Tang Yan nudged Jiajia's arm, urging her to seize the moment. "Well, our families are pretty interested in the Yundao project, so we wanted to check it out. We heard Lin Chuan's aunt is in charge. Youchu, could you introduce us for old time's sake?" Youchu didn't answer immediately. Instead, she looked up at me to ask for my input. After we exchanged a quick look, I said, "I'd love to help, but as you can see, she's far too busy right now, so it's not a good time." Sensing the rejection, they didn't want to push it. After exchanging polite goodbyes, they left. Only Liu Ruyan remained, staring at me as if she wanted to speak, but I ignored her and walked off with Youchu. But she followed us like a ghost from the hall to the second floor and out to the garden. Once we were alone, I turned. "Miss Liu, is there a reason you're following my wife and me?" Shocked by her own behavior, she stammered an apology. "I'm sorry, I've had too much to drink and lost my way." Youchu let out a soft, cold laugh at the lame excuse. Being confused once is fine, but don't make a habit of it. Lin Chuan might value old memories, but I have no ties to your family. There's no friendship here. The cold threat in her voice sent a chill straight through Ruyan. She knew Yuchu's family could ruin them with a single word. Unwilling to risk her family's future, Ruyan swallowed her pride and went back to the hall. Nearby, someone was pleading, "Director Lin, your nephew knows us. Please, just have a drink with us." I knew things had gone sideways. I quickly pushed through the crowd into the center of the hall. Before I could even say a word to defuse the situation, I saw my aunt picking up her phone to call security. The room fell dead silent. The other guests watched with smug amusement as the faces of those four went pale. My aunt spoke coldly. "Today is the launch of the Yundao project, not a backdoor shortcut. Since you have invitations, please pay attention to the upcoming presentation. Don't try any cheap tricks like these four, or you'll be thrown out too." As a dozen security guards escorted them out, Youchu and I walked back in. We watched them go from the doorway, sharing a quiet, knowing smile. As the host's voice echoed through the hall, signaling the start of the presentation, the troublemakers were gone. I didn't feel like staying, so I pulled Youchu along, saying I wanted to go home. She agreed instantly. She messaged my aunt and we drove off. We'd been staying at the old family home, which was quiet and empty, since the staff were off for the holidays. We curled up on the sofa to watch a movie. Near midnight, I suddenly craved sweet rice balls. Since it was late on a holiday, all local shops and delivery apps were closed. Staring at the screen, I sighed heavily, seeing my disappointment. Youchu smiling gently, he pulled a bag of glutinous rice flour from the kitchen cabinet. I leaned in, my eyes wide with excitement. "You know how to make sweet rice balls." Seeing me play with the flour, Shen Youchu knew I wanted to try too. So he took down 2 aprons and slipped one over my head. "We can just look up a tutorial. It should be easy." I agreed, quickly pulling out my phone. We spent over an hour following a video, barely shaping a few unevenly sized and oddly shaped rice balls. When the water boiled, I tried to drop them in, but Shen Youchu worried I would get burned. Took the plate and sent me to grab 2 bowls. We had no fermented rice, so he used brown sugar instead. By the time he served them, it was past midnight. I scooped up the largest rice ball and flaunted it right in front of him. "The biggest one is mine. Looks like I am getting all the good luck this year." Shen Youchu watched me with a soft smile. I took a bite, and the smugness on my face froze for a second before I forced a smile. "Not good?" he asked. My eyes darted around as I nodded eagerly, holding the spoon out to him. "It is actually amazing. Want to try some?" Shen Youchu took one quick look, knowing the plum-sized rice ball I made was completely raw, yet without a second of hesitation, he leaned down and ate the other half. Knowing he fell for it, I could barely suppress my giggles, quickly hiding my face. "Good, right," but his expression was surprisingly delighted. He gave me a thumbs up. "Delicious. It is sweet and chewy just how I like it." His eyes shone so brightly that I couldn't tell if he was lying. Still trusting my own taste buds, I put down my spoon and lifted his chin, trying to pry his mouth open. But he just swallowed it down. By the time I forced his mouth open, there was nothing left. A wave of disappointment washed over me. It was clearly raw. "You are lying to me." "Right. You're lying to me." Amid our playful scuffling, we rolled off the sofa and tumbled onto the carpet. We locked eyes, our breaths mingling in the tiny space between us. The living room was quiet save for the soft hum of the movie credits and the crackle of distant fireworks. I was the first to snap out of it. Flustered, I tried to push myself up, but my wrist was gently caught by Shen Youchu. His fingertips were warm, just like him, always calm yet always finding a way into the softest corner of my heart. He was the first to speak, his voice soft but clear. The rice ball was raw. I wasn't lying. I froze, then burst out laughing, falling back onto the carpet. From this distance, I stared intently into his eyes. I had seen him calmly handling wedding emergencies, managing office files with sharp efficiency, and worrying intensely over my tiniest scratch. But I had never seen the raw, undeniable tenderness filling his eyes right now. "Then why did you eat it?" "Because it was from you," Shen Youchu said, gently cupping my face. "Actually, I've loved you since long before you ever knew." I froze. The smile hadn't even faded from my eyes yet. They were suddenly filled with complete shock. I thought our marriage was just a family arrangement, a matter of convenience. I never imagined that behind this hasty union lay a secret love spanning nearly a decade. Seeing my utter shock, Shen Youchu smiled softly, sharing the secret he had kept hidden for years, whispering it to the person he had waited for. "When I was 18, your aunt got married. I attended with my family. The hall was packed with endless, polite chatter, and everyone was busy socializing. But you sat quietly in a corner helping your aunt tune her instrument. Your eyes were lowered as you touched the strings, and the sunlight seemed to favor you, gently kissing your cheek. That was the moment I wondered how someone could be so pure with eyes untouched by the world. From that day on, I watched you quietly. I knew you gave up a luxurious life to study at Yun University, and I knew you performed at the freshman gala and won so many hearts. I knew you had a long relationship, giving all your tenderness and patience to someone else. His voice remained steady, yet it held a trace of hidden bitterness. I could only watch from afar, unable to get close. I noted down your favorite things from social media, cherished every mention of you, and watched you love someone else for 7 years, while I waited. So when your mother came to me to suggest the marriage, I agreed without a single second of hesitation. The one I wanted to marry was never some heir of the Lin Group or a business partner. It was always you, Lin Chuan. He looked up, locking eyes with my trembling gaze, the tenderness in his eyes overflowing. I waited for nearly 10 years and finally got the chance to stand by your side openly and treat you well. My heart skipped a beat and my eyes welled with tears. In my past 7-year relationship, I was the one who always gave and was ignored, thinking my devotion was destined to be wasted. I never imagined that in a place I couldn't see, someone was watching and remembering everything about me, quietly loving me for nearly 10 years. All those coincidences finally had their answers. He knew I didn't eat seafood, knew I needed warm honey water when staying up late, and knew the sensitivity hidden beneath my gentle exterior. He knew that while I claimed not to care, I craved an unwavering love. It wasn't that he was born attentive, it was that he had remembered everything about me for years. I reached out and pulled him into my arms, holding him tightly as if fearing it was a dream. Resting my chin on his head, my voice trembled. Youchu, I'm sorry, I'm late. I had wasted 7 years on the wrong person, missing his decade-long wait. Fortunately, I turned around, and fortunately, he was still there. It is not late, Shen Youchu whispered, reaching up to hug me back, burying his face in my chest. Listening to my steady heartbeat, he smiled warmly. As long as it is you in the end, it is never too late. Outside, fireworks burst, painting the glass with vibrant colors and reflecting our smiles in the deep night. We didn't mention business marriages or acting anymore. We just curled up on the sofa, finishing the half-cooked sweet rice balls while talking about the years we had missed. For the first time, I realized what it felt like to be deeply loved, cherished at the center of someone's heart for so many years. It was such a warm feeling. Everything that followed came naturally.